What's up everybody, welcome to No One Watches RD. I am your host RD, coming at you once again with more unwatchable content and a video that nobody is going to see. But if you happen to be one of the nobodies that is tuning in and paying attention, today we are going to be talking about the hostile alien threat that some of you may have heard of, as it is a story that has been making the rounds on a few social media platforms and within the realms of search engine results, as there are a few articles being publicized in a few somewhat reputable or at least recognizable publications, rather than some sad, lonely conspiracy theorist sitting in his little basement, spending far too much time on the internet and is a little bit desperate for attention. But this isn't going to be one of RD's deepest of dives. In fact, we will only sort of really be scratching the surface and looking at a couple of these stories that have been circulating over the last couple of weeks regarding this hostile alien threat that is regarding an object that is an interstellar object by the name of 31 Atlas, or maybe 3I Atlas, up to you to decide if it's 3I or 31, that is destined to possibly come near Earth towards the end of November, early December time, just in time for Thanksgiving and Christmas, to shock the world into whatever it's going to shock the world into doing. And there are some scientists that may have been misquoted into suggesting that this object is in fact an alien mothership, or perhaps an alien probe that is on its way to sort of check out what is going on in Earth before an invasion. And you can look here at Google, where I've just typed in hostile alien threat into the search bar, and you can see a couple of articles popped up straight away. One, Project Bluebeam explained, as conspiracy resurfaces in the wake of a hostile alien threat. That was 2 days ago, and that come from Lad Bible. There is a article from Snopes debunking it. Exact date alien probe is set to arrive. NASA responds after scientists warned of a hostile alien threat. What NASA has said about the hostile alien threat, again from Lad Bible. Now, it does seem to be that some of these publications that are reporting them are sort of lads magazines, although the Daily Mail and a couple of other people have put it out, other than this sort of lad rag, the Lad Bible. But we are going to go and look at a couple of these articles just for titillation and speculation to see if or not we should be preparing ourselves for an eventual arrival of aliens towards the end of this year 2025 on the Gregorian calendar. So stay tuned, guys, as we're about to dive into our first article of the day. Righto, guys, so here we are at PurdueExponent.org. Purdue, the same Purdue that made oxycodone. But this was an article that surfaced on the 25th of July 2025, just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm not entirely sure if this was the actual first article to report of this, or if this was one of the earliest ones. But yeah, this is like almost a couple of weeks ago now. It is a 2-minute read, although it might take us a little bit longer to get through with my additional input, but it's not the longest of documents or articles we've ever looked into on this channel. But let's look what this is saying here. Comet 31 Atlas, as I'm choosing to call it. It may be 3I Atlas, but 31 Atlas is easier to say, I think. Streaks across a dense star field in this image, and this was captured by the Gemini North Telescope's Gemini multi-object spectrograph. The left panel captures the comet's colourful tail as it moves through the solar system. Some acronyms and stuff there. Let's scroll down as we ignore those. And it was taken by, or the article is by Dean Murray. I don't think Dean Murray took the photographs, but it starts out with saying a mysterious object the size of Manhattan could be a hostile alien spacecraft. spacecraft. And it's very important to say, or to point out that they are saying it could be, and no one's actually saying it is for sure. And this is sort of just, I guess, creating a little bit of a buzz about this, and hopefully trying to generate some interest that possibly AI algorithms might be able to scan through and deduce what the best course of action is to pursue with what could potentially be a psychological operation unfolding and in the happening. But earlier this month, experts confirmed the discovery of a very rare interstellar visitor, only the third ever detected, hurtling through our solar system at an extraordinary speed. The draft scientific paper dated July 22nd, and I think that is the date that this story did in fact surface, has proposed that the Object 31 Atlas might be alien technology and that it could make a surprise attack upon our planet. The researchers suggest that 31 Atlas's orbit is such that it would make it easier for an intelligent alien craft to approach Earth without being noticed. Although, it didn't exactly work, did it, aliens, if you're hostile or not? Because we've noticed you. Scientists are letting us know that you're on your way. So, not exactly the best description there from some of these Harvard scientists. There is another picture there. Sort of looks like something you might have seen on public access TV way back in the 1980s or early 1990s. They report that when it gets closest to the sun in late November, the object will be hidden from the Earth's view, hiding at the last minute, allowing it to carry out a secret high-speed maneuver to slow down, high speeds to slow down, and then stay in the solar system to secretly prepare for an attack. They add that 31 Atlas has an unusual path and it comes very close to planets like Venus, Mars and Jupiter, and something very unlikely to happen by chance with less than a 0.005% probability that this is happening by chance. So chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1, they said. Let me know in the comments if you know where that comes from. But one of the authors of the paper, which is not yet peer reviewed, is Avi Loeb, a prominent Harvard astrophysicist known for his provocative research and outspoken views on the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. He gained widespread attention for suggesting that the 2017 interstellar object X Oumuamua, is that how you would say it? Oumuamua. Strange thing to name it, I'm sure, but so there's a reason for that. Let me know if you know what the reason is, or if you know how to sell it. Well, I don't know how we would do that in a texted response, but it might be an artificial probe, this weird thing that we can't pronounce, and it was created by an alien civilization based on its unusual acceleration and shape. And I believe there is a photograph that we are looking at it circled there. Maybe I should add an arrow to that and make one of those annoying YouTube-y thumbnails that you see so many of on YouTube these days. Circles and arrows. What's that all about? Maybe we'll make a video about it one day to let you know exactly why you see so many circles and arrows on thumbnails on YouTube. But that's not for today. We are looking at the 31 Atlas, hostile alien threat that could be on our way in November. And this is a picture that was taken in July 2025. Actually, this is a picture of 31 Atlas, not the unpronounceable Oumuamua thing that he said was another object that could have been created by a alien civilization. But his co-authors on this paper are Adam Hibbard and Adam Crow, AHAC there, double A's. double Adams rather. Strange to have two friends called Adam. I don't think I know an Adam. Oh, actually I do, sorry. I was trying to scan my friends in my mind, see if I knew an Adam, and I actually do. But as I said, it just sort of seemed a bit extraordinary that you'd have two friends called Adam that would be helping them out. Don't know if I'm overthinking that. But the authors make it very clear that their paper is purely from a hypothetical point of view and not necessarily something they believe to be true. They wrote, this paper is contingent on a remarkable but, as we shall show, testable hypothesis which to the authors do not necessarily ascribe, yet it's certainly worthy of an analysis and a report. However, they warn in the study that the consequences, should the hypothesis turn out to be correct, could potentially be dire for humanity and would possibly require defensive measures to be undertaken, though these might prove futile. Resistance is futile. Take me to your leader. Something aliens used to say in alien movies. The study adds that the hypothesis is an interesting exercise in its own right, and it's fun to pursue introspective of its likely validity. And it is fun to explore alternative avenues of possibility stroke probability. But the object is now officially designated 31 Atlas. It was previously known as A11PL3Z. Glad they changed it a little bit, easier on the tongue, but it is believed to have come from a distant star system and is traveling at over 60,000 kilometers per second. No, it is traveling at over 60 kilometers per second. 31 Atlas was first spotted on July the 1st by Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS. And that is a survey telescope at Rio Hurtado in Chile, and it estimates suggest it could be between 10 and 20 kilometers wide, and although it may be smaller if composed mostly of reflective ice. Every exponent article goes through checks for accuracy before publication. If you have any concern or questions about this article, please contact the editor, and there is his email address if you so choose to do so. So that was one of the first articles that circulated mentioning this, and I'm very interested that it come from Purdue of all people. So stay tuned, guys. Let's go and look at one or two more before wrapping things up with my final thoughts of the day. A little bit like Jerry Springer. Right, so we are going to be diving into this Lad Bible article, Project Bluebeam Explained as Conspiracy Resurfaces in the Wake of the Hostile Alien Threat Announcement. Spoiler alert, guys, hate to break it to you, it doesn't explain Project Bluebeam at all, not even remotely. Very, very misleading there. We are going to go and just have a little click over on the news section. So I'm just going to sort of show you some of these people that are talking about it, some of these publications that are talking about it. Now, first up is Lad Bible, that do seem to be leading the charge with this particular story. And the second one is from Unilad. Here we have one from News 18, Yahoo.com. I've got an article about it. There's something from the Ukraine. Here we go again. Controversial paper questions whether interstellar visitor 31 Atlas is, as I'm sure you know, a hostile alien threat. Harvard scientist, alien object speeding towards Earth at 135,000 miles an hour. Interstellar invader is Earth in danger from incoming alien spacecraft. First post. Snopes, we might have a little look on that one just to see what they've got to say. Got to check all avenues of possibility and all avenues of information before reaching conclusion as wherever we can conclude if or not this isn't a real threat or just a lot of hot air, or maybe a little bit of seed planting or some sort of data grab prompt to see sort of how people like you and I are reacting to this news story as to how they will proceed with it in the future, if or not they do proceed with it. So let's just click onto one more page. You can see again the Express, another Lad Bible there. Money Control, New York Post, MSN, Rosanna Spokesman, Purdue. There we go. We've already read that one. Unilad again from a week ago. Lad Bible, 6 days, 4 days. So as I said, Lad Bible are loving this, and maybe they're looking for the reaction of lads in particular, because probably lads are a little bit more susceptible or to think and be curious about UFOs over females, perhaps. Not to say that is the case. I'm sure there are many females that are interested in UFOs, but it seems to target in lads is what I'm trying to get at. The Daily Mirror, Vocal. Now these are interested because these vocals, when you click on them, page not found. I don't know why that is all about, but there are 4 hostile alien. Some of these are from quite some time ago, but I did want to, there it is right there, because as I was doing a little bit of searching through before hitting record, I discovered this on page 5, hostile alien threat. We've got a government document from the White House protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, I imagine that would say, from January the 20th of this year, 2025. Now, I haven't clicked on it, so let's do that together. Sort of when the White House is popping up in a search for hostile alien threats, it's got to be worth a click. And it is a government, it is from the White House itself. It is a government a document, I guess, of sorts, protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, as we speculated was the full title of this article. By the authority vested in me as president, not me, this is what the president's saying, I'm not, nobody's vested any authority in me, and I'm not constitutionally authorized to consider myself the president of the United States of America, policy and purpose. I mean, you know what, guys, let's just scan down a little bit. I'm not going to start reading this because this could take us quite on a tangent that we weren't planning today, but maybe we will come back to this. But as I said, I'm sort of scanning through slowly. If you feel the need to maybe pause the video and read what it has to say, you are able to do so. But I did just want to point out that within the search results there is an article from the White House that I am going to be looking into a lot deeper once I finish this particular article. But we're not going to go too much further, but I do want to go back to the one, there we go, Project Bluebeam explained, its conspiracy resurfaces. And the Lad Bible, published at 7:51:31 on July, 7:51 on the 31st of July 2025 GMT, Greenwich Meridian time. Project Bluebeam explained as a conspiracy resurfaces in wake of potential hostile alien threat. Now it goes on a little bit to start, here we go, the news that potential hostile alien, and again, a lot of these sort of stories, I'm not going to click on them all, but a lot of them are literally reading and writing from the same script and the same pages on this. But the news that the potential hostile alien object could be heading towards Earth has reignited an online conspiracy theory known as Project Bluebeam. But what exactly is it? If you want, and this is from Brenner Cooper. If you actually do want to know more about Project Bluebeam, I do have a lot of content on Project Bluebeam, mostly on my previous channel, TSP TV, but I think there is a couple of articles and tidbits on this channel, and we also have an awful lot of Alien Lies Forum content over on our sister channel, TSS, which I used to host with my partner, Sweet Cheeks L78. That is indeed, if you want to know more about Project Bluebeam for real, and not what Brenner Cooper thinks you need to know about Project Bluebeam condensed into a 2-minute read. But in case you missed it, a research paper was recently published which suggested that Comet 31 Atlas could potentially be an intelligence gathering device sent by an advanced alien civilization to monitor us. The research conducted by the guy that we know in the Harvard crowd, the two Adams, says it has a the comet's trajectory has a 0.2% of being naturally occurring. Lots of ads there to get through. There's one that I can't remove, unfortunately. Go away, whatever that is. Leave me alone. There's one of those weird videos I was talking about just the other day where sort of people like to look closely into the camera and point and make funny, strange faces. But according to some members of the Tinfoil Hat Brigade, the article goes on to say, maybe I have to crop this video so the weird videos don't pop up. Let me start that again. According to some members of the Tinfoil Hat Brigade, the entire story about a potential hostile alien spyware is completely fabricated and is designed to cause panic. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You make of it what you will. But why, you ask? Why, you ask? Well, that's where Project Bluebeam comes into play, and this is where Brianna decides to tell us all about Project Bluebeam. What is Project Bluebeam? Question mark. Project Bluebeam is a theory created by the late Canadian journalist Serge Monast in the 1990s. Monast argued that global leaders would work together to fabricate a supernatural events in order to create a global totalitarian government. He has also believed such events would bring about the collapse of existing world religion. Despite the idea being 3 decades old, Monsat passed away in 1996. Project Bluebeam has floated around at the top of internet chat and every now and then, usually in the aftermath of an alleged viral supernatural sightings. Now, according to Newsweek, the topic popped up back in December 2024 after multiple drones were sighted over the state of Pennsylvania, with prominent figures such as Roseanne Barr and Alex Jones posting about the topic. What are people saying about 31 Atlas and Project Bluebeam? That's it, guys. I'm sorry to say that was Brianna explaining Project Bluebeam to you. Very insightful, I'm sure you will agree. But unsurprisingly, the words potentially hostile and alien worked like tinder on the conspiracy theory bonfire, with believers in Monsat theory claiming this was the exact sign they've been warning about for years, and maybe waiting for years. In one post created by the TikTok user @InterstellarDiscussion, he urged his followers to ignore any advice given by governments in emergency situations, which is pretty smart, really. I'm not going to knock him for that, but he's saying, "This is the beginning, and I urge you to look up Bluebeam." Well, I'm sure none of his viewers will actually look up Bluebeam because they are, in fact, TikTok viewers. They don't look up shit. They just rely on TikTok to implant their thoughts into them. Meanwhile, one person on X, however, even claimed the story was being used as a distraction tactic by President Donald Trump. Donald Trump would rather push Project Bluebeam than have the Epstein files released. Aliens in November, my arse. The tweet alleged. Others claim it is fear-mongering created by world leaders. And there's a Getty stock image for us there to enjoy of the White House and some barbed wires. However, not everyone is convinced by the argument, with many Redditors dismissing the topic when it was recently brought up on a paranormal subreddit. It's also worth noting that NASA, who are supposed to be involved in the alleged Project Bluebeam fear-mongering, has been quick to quash any suggestion that an alien invasion is imminent, saying that the comment is natural and poses no threat to planet Earth. But it is NASA, never a straight answer. So again, make of all of this what you will. And that is the end of Brenna Cooper's insightful article explaining us what Project Bluebeam is, and hopefully you are far more enlightened about Project Bluebeam as a result of Brenna Cooper's efforts. I'm sure you're not. I'm being extremely flippant and sarcastic by that. It didn't really tell us anything about Project Bluebeam other than the individual that conceived it. Now, I click on Snopes, I'm not going to read it. They just say that it has been misquoted. They're saying that it's false. Nobody actually said that there is an alien threat on its way that is hostile. They're talking about X and TikTok again, so you can see some of these articles are working from the same page, but the claim was false. Scientists did not warn that an intergalactic object was most likely or certainly an alien ship heading towards Earth. The overwhelming scientific consensus was that the object was likely an interstellar comet, and a few scientists published a paper analyzing its theoretical argument that it could be an alien ship. But even the paper's authors believe that it's most likely to be a comet. And that is it from Snopes. Now, I'm not going to read any more articles on this topic to you. You're free to do so, mainly because so many of them are just repeating the same thing over and over again. There is sort of no mention of this on any mainstream platforms or news publications that I am aware of. It does sort of seem to be mostly sort of lad magazines and tabloids. There are a few videos I will show you there. Look, 1 minute 6, alien threat imminent, hostile alien spacecraft to attack Earth. And there was one article that did suggest, I'm not going to read, you have to take my word for it, that it is going to be coming. What the exact date there is from the Daily Mail. Actually, let's just click on it to show you for sure. You don't have to make my hearsay. That it will be coming in around, there you go, between the 21st of November and December the 5th, 2025. That is the Daily Mail there. Exact date: alien probe is set to arrive as Earth as chilling warning is issued, is the title of that article if you want to search for it yourself. But you don't really need to. All you need to do if you want to do a bit of research of your own and look into it more is type hostile alien threat into Google or search engine of your choice. So that's it for the articles, but I've got a couple of other things I do want to show you just before we wrap this up and end things for today. So stay tuned, guys. We're almost at the end of this shit video production here at NoOneWatchesArDee. Right, guys, something I did want to point out and highlight to you just before we do wrap things up here was to jump over to an anagram generator, and here we're using Ing's anagram generator, a site that I have used before to sort of demonstrate that sometimes within these headlines, hashtags, catchy slogans, sometimes if you do pop them into an anagram generator, you do get some very interesting results come up that could be considered as sort of quite telling, almost evidence, if you like, sort of hiding the secret within the article. And, you know, somehow they do have to tell us what they are going to do before they do it in order to sort of gain some sort of permission, or perhaps, you know, seek approval from whatever deities it is that they worship or whose approval they are seeking. And there are many ways to do this, putting it into sort of fiction or literature or art, or in this case rearranging the words and jumbling them up to say something else that only a certain people might be privy to the information of how to decode those things. And I know some of you guys are familiar with things like gematria, numerology, stuff like that, you know, where you can rearrange letters and numbers and sort of make messages for yourself. So what we're going to do here is just type in hostile alien threat, as you can see there, and you can do this for yourself. And I'm just going to click on create anagrams, and you can see here another lethalities is the first thing that comes up. And healthiest oriental, healthiest relation, healthiest Tyrolean. The Tyrol is a region of Austria. Tyroleans are the people that live there. Lolanth stealthier is one of the first few that they have created there. But the most interested to me was another lethalities, and earthliest loanth. if I am indeed pronouncing that correctly, in I can't read that even with my glasses, it's too squinty for me, but you can read it for yourself. It's something lethal. So a couple of lethals do pop up there, but the another lethalities might be suggesting that this is another high impact event about to happen that is going to cause another bunch of lethalities and casualties. It may require hospitalization or rehousing, stuff like that. Who knows? Make of it what you will, guys. As that is about it for today, I guess. I did say I had a couple of other things left to share with you, but I am going to cut this a little bit shorter. As I said, it's been a little while since I've made some videos, and I did want to keep this one a little bit shorter than my regular content on there. So if or not we are about to brace ourselves for an alien event, be it an invasion, or be they come to sort of offer a word of advice to say that we're heading in the wrong direction, unless we sort of buck our ideas up, we're going to obliterate one another. Who knows? All I do know that the alien agenda has ramped up in the last 5 years since the pandemic sort of changed pretty much the way the world operates and functions and thinks anymore. And year by year since 2020, there seems to be sort of more and more evidence, information surfaces in the mainstream regarding aliens and their existence. And we've even had whistleblowers being validated in the Supreme Court that their claims that the United States government do in fact possess a technology that is not of this world, and there are also beings that are not of this world in facilities somewhere within the United States of America. So that is about it for today, folks. It is a shorter video than normally you will see on this channel, or not see on this channel, as you do know. It is called NoOneWatchesArDee. But should we be taking this hostile alien threat seriously, or should we just consider it as nothing more than a puff of hot air being blown up our asses, as maybe some of this article suggests, as a little distraction from some of the other more concerning going on in the world? I myself particularly am going to keep an eye on this story to see if it does develop. I certainly don't think for 1 minute that it is actual extraterrestrials on their way to Earth and an invasion is imminent, but it is one of those little stories that could be seed planting towards the psychological operation, towards a false flag staged alien event, alien invasion event that they are predicting could happen towards November, early December of this year. And with the sort of alien narrative being the way it has been, it wouldn't surprise me if they are using this in this sort of particular story at this particular time to sort of gauge some sort of general interest, see how many people are paying attention to it, see how many YouTubers and influencers on other channels and platforms are jumping on this story to turn it into content, to then see what sort of reactions and gauge the interest from the viewers that then watch that content, as opposed as well as those that sort of read the articles. And sort of YouTube and social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram and stuff is a wonderful place for artificial intelligent data gatherers to collect as much information as they can possibly grab from us, and use that information in order to create stories, fiction, articles that may be passed off as news that are in fact advertisement, that are tailor-made to our thoughts and personal opinions. And we do live in an age where artificial intelligence being able to read our minds and create text and images from our thoughts and our dreams are here, folks. That technology exists. People do use this, and don't think for 1 minute it will not be used on you. But within sort of predictive programming realms, within sort of the movies that we are accustomed to of alien invasions, there's usually always one astronomer or scientist that discovers some sort of anomaly that sort of then runs frantically through a laboratory or an observatory in a white coat flapping with with a sort of tie and half unhinged, knocking over coffee and other sort of employees with pieces of paper in his hands saying, "Take me to the president," and it's often one of the cases that nobody actually listens to him until it is far too late. And I think that pretty much was the plot to Independence Day. So if or not we are going to get our own Independence Day this coming Thanksgiving, if you are in the United States of America, remains to be seen. And as always, folks, the message that goes along with these videos here at NoOneWatchesArDee is make of it what you will. I do believe that this story does have the potential to be a seed planting story that would lead to a great agenda. I don't think it would be advisable or within protocols of governments to announce any imminent alien invasion this sort of far in advance to the event actually happening, to sort of control population, stop panic and chaos erupting, although there's an awful lot of chaos and unrest erupting around the world in various countries, states and cities right as we speak probably, and this sort of is something that is contained within the realms of Alan Moore's The Watchmen, the 1986 comic book miniseries that depicts of an evil trillionaire tycoon who sort of owns every single thing on the planet, from governments, banks, news corporations to delivery services, movie studios, actors, scientists, everything you could possibly need, in fact, to host and stage a hoax, false flag alien event. And within the story, that's exactly what this individual, Adrian Veidt, aka Ozymandias, does in order to usher in a new world order. He creates a false flag staged alien event that actually takes place on the 2nd of November, not the predicted date of the arrival of the 31 Atlas Comet, but certainly close enough within the same month to sort of raise one or two eyebrows. Was this predictive programming? And I truly believe that The Watchmen is a predictive programming story that has yet to happen, and could this hostile alien threat be the start of that story unfolding as we speak? But that is it for me, folks. It's been a shorter than regular No One Watches RD video, but as nobody watches RD, I didn't think to go to the trouble of putting extensive research and providing multiple sources of information and PDFs and information regarding Bluebeam to show you exactly how they could realistically carry this off. That is content that I have already put up onto my various channels that nobody has watched. So until next time, guys, be excellent to each other, and may the force be with us all. RD signing out for now.